Metropolis is restocked. Dice, minis, mats, spell cards, big stock of Magic the Gathering products and supplies. Get your DM discount of 10% and mention this ad with the phrase Vinny sent me here.
Hey there, Vince.
Hey.
We're here again with hopefully another successful podcast. Last podcast went amazing.
I think so too. This
week, we should try to cover some artists. Kind of introduce our favorites, inspirations, which capture our eye, etc., and to dive into your first go-to. Shall you, please?
Alright, well, I got one to cover. And this is only because of the fact of, if I put all of my favorites, they would take up too much time.
As both of us, yeah.
Yeah. So, I've got one of my favorites, Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
Such an amazing... Yeah, I know. So, such an amazing writer. Done more than just comic books.
Yeah.
Gone through quite a few different things like film and actual books and such.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you already mentioned, this is one of my favorite series, Sandman.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful series.
Fucking
Great
amazing.
storyline.
Yeah.
And yes, he worked for DC as well. So obviously, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
But I also remember his work in How to Talk to Girls at Parties. Something you might need, Cody.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, yes. It was a good read. Also, tonight we're going to link a lot of the actual artist pages that we talk about.
Yeah.
And a lot of the comic books that we talk about tonight. That way people can actually see them.
The money. Look for the money.
Exactly. Now, I could talk about other really good storylines, but I'd rather you go to his main site, and it's, again, it'll be down in the link description down below. Go there and look through all of his work. He's also done films like Beowulf, Coraline, and Mirror Mask. So much awesome work. It's a must-read, and see his films as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what about you, Cody?
My go-to is, of course, a fan favorite. There's a couple local artists, actually all of the local artists that were into comic books down at Metropolis at the time. All of us were super into, I mean, not just us here in town, but he's amazing. Greg Capullo. Good old Greg.
Oh, Greg.
I even sent him an invite to this podcast page. Probably not going to respond, but maybe he does.
Well, maybe he'll listen and maybe he'll want to be on.
Yeah, right. I highly doubt it.
You never know, Greg. Greg, if you're listening right now.
I severely doubt it.
Hey, you never know. If he's listening, get a hold of us. We'd love to have you on the podcast.
That'd be amazing. It would be amazing. I'd do backflips all over town anyway. I want to expand on that though. He's everyone's fan favorite, cliche, but it's kind of like Adam Hughes, Jim Lee, Scott Campbell, FCO, Gibbons, Kirby, all those guys. Let's think deeper into the more obscure, shall we, Vince? Anyone of these Silver Age guys, Bronze Age guys, not so much the Gold Age guys, like more guys towards our age, like Silver and Bronze. Who do you think deserves the Eisner or Kirby Award if they haven't already received it?
Well, I put a lot of thought into this, and I would have to say Carmine Infantino. He was an artist for DC, and one of the most popular covers, one of my favorite covers, and one of my favorite storylines. It was Flash number 123, and also known to people who don't keep track of the original Silver Age numbering system, was the Flash of Two Worlds. That was made in 1963, way before we were born.
Yeah.
Still Silver Age. Now, during this time, and I have to say this, it was amazing because of the fact of, you look at this and you go through, okay, this is the first time that they had the multiverse.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that was the first time that, the Flash slipped into another dimension.
You're going to have to actually remind me. I honestly wasn't into the Flash when I was younger.
Exactly. So, I mean...
Not everybody was.
And we've already talked that we're going to do origins of each character, of our favorite comic book characters, so he's one on my list. So we'll go more into that later, because, we'll get off on too many tangents if I start talking Flash. But it was an amazing piece of artwork. That cover was just beautiful. Yeah. And I mean, he worked on Batman and a lot of our comics, and I think you really have to say he's one of the godfathers of the Silver Age. A great artist. I could have went for Kirby or Lee, but they've already won that award and everything, and it's like one of those things where I find the more obscured artists are really the greatest, in my opinion. I mean, hands down, you can never say Kirby's not a great artist.
No.
But what about you, man?
if it wasn't for Kirby and Lee, we wouldn't have comics right now, or any time for that matter. Some of the best artists today go unnoticed, go under the radar. I actually get a kick out of seeing amazing pencils and inks from artists that are great or phenomenal. You just pick up a book and you look at the inlay and you're like, wow. And it's like an indie comic or an overseas comic, some comic that's not, the Avengers or the Justice League.
Exactly.
And then you get excited and inspired and you're like, oh, if this guy can do it, I can work my way up to that,
So you were talking about Greg, and obviously you've mentioned Mediterranean artists.
Mm.
Let's go a little bit more in depth on that.
Oh, I picked up this one up at Keith's Comics up in Schaumburg, called The One. It's by GG Studios. I heard Greg Capullo, so I thumbed through it. To sum it up in one word, it was amazing. It's pretty decent. It has the same feel as all the Image comics or anything that Capullo did pencils on, or
yeah,
it captures the form. It's not as rendery or super detailed, but it's still got no. His name was actually, I'm gonna rephrase, correct myself. His name was Pascal Quilano.
Oh, okay.
It captures the form and everything really, really, really well.
And you told me about the one before the podcast, and I actually went over and took a look at it. I thumbed through it. I didn't get to read the whole storyline, but you're definitely right. A Mediterranean style on this comic really tore and put the story into a perspective. Yeah. Especially, just the storyline itself. I should have looked up
pretty basic.
Yeah, but it's basic enough to where it's unique enough for the situation.
Yeah.
Things are tweaked just enough where it's not the same old story,
yeah,
but it does follow a premise. And I think you kind of talked about the premise with me earlier. Yeah. Can you kind of elaborate?
Yeah, it's basically society collapses in an age of peace, and then they go into a Middle Ages kind of thing. War begins, they look for a sword or a medallion or pieces of a sword or something like that, and basically that's it. And it really tones into all the Latin talent and the Mediterranean talent, and it's not in all situations, but I mean there's amazing American artists, but I always think the closer to the motherland that you get, the more sexy the art gets. One comic, I don't know how popular it is overseas, but it's kind of what the hell is this over here? Who knows how good this is kind of comic? Not necessarily B-rated comic, but...
Well, and that's the whole point, is that we're so used to American style.
Yeah.
Classic comic book, in our opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of times, a lot of the people who get comic books, they go, oh, I got Marvel, I got DC. Yeah. That's what I got. And it's you don't really express that. And, dude, I am an old school sword warrior storyline guy. Yeah. I grew up on D&D, and I play Pathfinder now and everything. So it's one of those things where it's something that's been done so many times, but it's still amazing. It's one of the better storylines for the one. It is a better storyline. I do like how it starts off in the arc. But I mean, here's the thing that I kind of get to, and I feel common with it. It reminds me of the Ronin or the Wandering Samurai storylines.
Yeah.
Those narratives where it's a lone man, or it's a small group, kind of like Seven Samurai, where they're questing to right this wrong, and the world's all wrong, and they're trying to fix it. It's a good idea, but Cody, right now, I think it's time. It is time, Cody. Time for the thing that we've been talking about. Cody, let's go into Image and the title of Spawn.
Oh my goodness. Spawn. Spawn. Like the Thon song. Oh my god. Okay, Spawn, I'll give you a little synopsis. If you're not familiar with Spawn by now, if you're one of those younger dudes, younger chicks, depending...
Or someone who just didn't get into Image Comics, they kind of stay mainstream. And, no hate or shame on mainstream guys, but definitely give these, side.
This is the result of an indie...
What an indie artist can do.
What an indie artist has done.
Exactly.
He's the king of comics now.
It's phenomenal.
It always has been, I think, in my opinion. But anyway.
So tell us about, how did Spawn come to be? I mean, don't spoil the whole thing.
No.
But, let's talk about the origins of Spawn.
Okay, so basically Spawn started out, but he was an ex-serviceman in the armed forces.
Well, here's the thing.
Was he a hitman, or was he just a serviceman?
Here's the thing. He started off in the armed forces, and he had a great career, but he got hired on to do some other...
Yeah, he was like
some
an
other
assassin,
things
basically.
where he was hired as an assassin hitman.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been forever since...
You can't forget that part of the storyline, only because of the fact of, like, it's a big deal of what happens next in the comic.
Assassin at one point.
And it really, it proves the point of what happens next in a comic. Something that we don't go too far in depth.
Well, yeah. Well, basically, he was a hit assassin, a 2-hire military guy. Okay, and then he dies. He gets burned by like his so-called old friend, this older cat, Chapel. Burned him alive with a flamethrower.
Awesome.
And he gets sent. Yeah, and then he gets sent to hell to make a deal with the quote devil, which is basically it's Malabaglia. He's like the 8th plane of hell's overlord. Not the 9th, but the 8th. To walk the earth, he gets a deal to walk the earth once again in search of his wife, Wanda. But that's all I'm gonna say.
Exactly, and I mean, like, you gotta go get the book. I mean,
so
it's gonna
gritty. If you like gritty, if you like raw, if you like...
Let's put it this way. This is a semi-mature comic book because it's got very graphic content in it.
It's pretty graphic, not gonna
lie. But that's what makes the storyline so good, is that it's such...
It's like the Goodfellas of the comic book industry.
Exactly. They weren't afraid to show blood and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially coming out of the Silver Age to the Bronze Age, which is, kind of...
Right around the same time as the Goodfellas, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly the same time.
So, I mean, like, you drool over this artwork. I mean, it's just...
Yeah. It's
just
so
amazing.
good. It's so good.
Oh, I know, and it's ridiculous.
It's
sexy,
like, dude.
You can't believe it because of the fact of it's such an amazing thing. So here's the thing, Cody. We have been talking about comic books for a while, and like I said, we got to show our gamers some love.
Yeah.
Now,
always at the end.
Well,
not every time.
This time we're dedicating a good chunk of the end part of this podcast to games.
Yeah.
So, we're going to start off with, Cody, can you tell me, what are your top 5 current platform games that you go to?
Platforms?
Yeah, so say Xbox or PC, or PS4.
Oh, you mean like platforms as in consoles?
Exactly.
But not platformers?
No, not platformers, platforms.
Oh, okay. Probably Fallout 4, Witcher 3, like all time? Or just right now?
Just like you're playing an Xbox Xbox One.
Yeah.
Okay, so just the games on there that you find amazing.
Oh, okay. Like The Division, Fallout 4, of course. Witcher 3. Yeah. There's a good 7 Days to Die.
Oh, I love 7 Days to Die.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's like Minecraft, but way grittier and hardcore.
And not so much friendly zombies.
No, hell no. It's all zombies. It's not like spiders and cute little wolves. There's none of that happy
Well, there
shit.
are some angry dogs.
Yeah. Angry pinchers and pit bulls and...
Exactly.
Kick your ass.
Yeah, pretty much. So those are your tops?
Well, those 3, and I haven't really been playing games lately. I've been busy doing artwork and
exactly
this podcast, and I'd say the top 5 would be those 3 and some throwbacks. I've been playing like Red Dead Redemption and XCOM and...
Yeah, you talked a lot about XCOM when we were kind of having a discussion about it.
It's like a good strategy game.
Yeah, I think
strategy.
It is.
It's like if you took like Warhammer, made it like a smaller scale.
Yeah.
And made it with like 5 units instead of like 50 sets of 5 units, and you get it's turn based, and you just shoot out like 10 or 15 enemies over like a tabletop format, and you pick points, and like it's really cool. Like it's if you took like a Warhammer game. It's like an RTS, but not just 5 or 6 units, and you just take turns ripping up aliens and getting tech, and it's really cool. They're coming out with XCOM 2 on remastered, or is it an Xbox One game? I'm not too sure.
It's probably gonna be an Xbox One game.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's pretty much where we're kind of sitting at. So, I mean, that's pretty cool and everything. I mean, you know, those are pretty good games for the Xbox One, and a lot of those games are PS4 games that I play as well. Mm-hmm. I play a lot of Destiny and everything.
Mm-hmm. Destiny? How is that, by the way?
Just amazing. I mean, like, sometimes it gets repetitive, but any game gets repetitive when you play it so much.
But have they nerfed, like, everything before House of Wolves?
Yeah, but then they overpowered weapons and armor and light, you know, light items really bounced it right back. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, they'll nerf it every time once you get, like, a good set. I mean, like, play a good amount of Crucible, but I don't really like to. I like more just going on raids and stuff. That's kind of like my thing. I love strategic planning and stuff instead of just, who's got a better build and better weapons to shoot you.
Yeah, it does get kind of annoying after a while.
Yeah. But here's one that I'll get to my last one, but okay, so Destiny, obviously Overwatch is a great one for me, and we sit here with Minecraft's a classic throwback too, because of the fact that it's just like, I love that building and exploring setup, and I mean, it's really just, it's great. I mean, like, I got a bunch of other games that I play, obviously Fallout 4 and stuff, but one game I want to talk about in particular, and I wasn't very happy when I heard this from a couple of news outlets while we were doing some research for tonight's podcast. No Man's Sky. I mean, for God's sakes, I mean, you get to a point where you have to think about it. This is still an indie game. Yes, it had an amazing budget, but they didn't have a whole studio working on it at the time. And yeah, it doesn't have everything it promises, but let's put it this way. How many games have you played? Perfect example, the new Titanfall.
Yeah,
they have to go back in and just redo everything. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you don't want that kind of stuff there.
No.
You know, you don't want that, like, well, we're a AAA game developer.
Yeah.
We don't want to go there with it. And I think that pisses me off the most, because you get so many people who are like complaining about No Man's Sky going, oh, well, it doesn't have everything it promised, or this and that, and that's, no, you don't understand.
It's got like 12 guys working on this indie game that's been hyped as like a AAA game, and they forget that it's an indie game, and they're like, "Oh, I want the game now! I want the game now!"
Oh, I know, it's ridiculous. And
like, dude, back in the day, we had to wait like years for a game.
Exactly.
Years, and we had to sit there and read our Game Pros and our Game Informers and our PSM magazines and sit there.
Or Nintendo Power to date us,
Nintendo Powers and whatever Powers and all the magazines in the world to get information about these games. And we had to sit there and play the same damn game for 4 years on end and wait patiently for this game. Now everyone is just, I want it now, give me it now.
I want it to be now, and I want it to be perfect.
No, it's like they're releasing the games quicker, they're getting more stuff done. They're not getting the whole damn thing done, but they're getting more done quicker, and they're releasing it for feedback to make it better.
Exactly.
And it's taking the same amount of time. It's just nobody is realizing. It's taking the same amount of time that we had to wait for back in the day to fully release a game.
And here's the other thing I have to bring up, going back to No Man's Sky, because of the fact of I'm that person. I'm that person who loves games where you explore and you learn all this like crazy stuff. Like, there is a whole storyline that you learn going through.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen some players go through and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to learn a couple of words, and then I'm going to build a warp drive, and I'm going to leave everything.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to the center of the universe. Well, here's a newsflash, guys.
Yeah.
If you just go to the center of the universe, you're going to get there quickly. Because you're not
done yet.
Well, here's the thing. The whole idea of No Man's Sky is you start in a galaxy. How many people, I mean, I'm asking our listeners too. Yeah. I'm asking everybody else. How many people actually explored the whole depths of their first planet?
None of them. I'll answer that for them.
Exactly. Even I jumped off planets to see what was around.
But it's the same thing, then.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I showed you. The first galaxy that we were in, and this is from our personal gameplay, and again, we're talking about doing a Let's Play channel. We're in the process of it.
Yeah.
But we'll get more into that in a little bit. But, okay, here's the thing. When we started, none of the planets in our universe that we started in, our galaxy, whatever you want to call it, had any water features.
No.
Nothing like that.
Nope.
You know? And yeah, some of the planets had a brown overtone.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the other thing, too. Not every planet's going to look like Earth.
No.
Go look at the stars. Go look at other planets and see what tint and color they have from afar.
Yeah. Really get into it. Don't just look at it for face value and be like, I want to fucking beat the game right fucking now. No, it's not going to happen.
It's not a game about beating something.
Yeah, you paid $60 for a game that's not done yet, but you're not realizing it had 12 people working on it.
Exactly.
And they have amazingly created all that content with 12 guys, and you're sitting there bitching still, and it looks amazing. It looks really good, and there's tons of stuff just to explore. Just get into it, like it for what it is. If not, don't buy it.
Exactly.
Like,
here's the other thing too, is that they're talking about the sales being very bad. Okay?
No, it's the logins.
Well, no, it started off with the sales. You know, they're like, oh, well, it's not doing that great. They reported on the sales for physical copies. Now, I don't know about most people. Yeah, I have some physical copies, but anymore, I download my content.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll continue doing that because of the fact that it's easier. I don't have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I can pre-order it, and it downloads right to me. So they didn't count that. And then they also didn't count, when they do logins and stuff, they counted it at a time when summers ended.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the kids around here are already back in school. So they can't log in for 4 or 5 hours.
No.
You know? And most of us have jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a great, simulator for just a planet sim.
Mm-hmm.
Where you go and you explore and you find all these crazy creatures and stuff. And that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be exploration.
Mm-hmm.
Some games, and this is going to be hard for some people to understand, games don't have a valid storyline. They're made so you can interpret the story yourself.
Exactly, and people are bitching about stuff being stripped from the game. No,
dude, it's not.
You're looking at footage of stuff that they're still working on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's being released $60, not as a beta, but it is still a beta.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
And, okay, here's another thing. How many new games have we bought that there's a day one patch?
Every game.
Exactly.
Ever.
See,
recently, in the past 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years, yeah, exactly. Well, here's the thing, okay? We didn't get that as kids. Mm-hmm. If there was a glitch in the game, and you just dealt with it.
Yeah, you'd be pissed. You'd fucking
scream like a little girl, you know? Cody knows all about that.
Yeah.
But, joking aside on that, it's just, for me, I played a lot of fantasy games.
And they fix the shit now.
Exactly.
That's why they do it. To put it out there.
Yeah, so they can get the glitches.
So they don't do that.
Because you know what? You can have a game tester test a game completely 40 times.
There's still going to be little errors.
Yeah, because you did something specifically different.
And the same fuckers that bitch about glitches, you love fucking Bethesda games, don't you? You love them. You love Bethesda games. And you still play them. Why? Because they're amazing. So, shut the hell up, play the game, and stop bitching about it.
And here's another thing, and I have to say this because I kind of laughed about it. I had my first glitch in No Man's Sky, but it has to do with what we were actually doing. I had landed on a planet, and the way my ship's designed, its cockpit sits a little lower than most of them. Mm-hmm. So if you land, the cockpit will sometimes go into the ground. They have to work on their collision a little bit better.
Yeah, the collision.
Well, but that's okay to me, because you know what? Only happened once to me. Mm-hmm. I recorded it, of course. Yeah. And on our channel, our YouTube channel, I will post as one of our first videos that I'm not riding on No Man's Sky going, there's no problems, because I experienced one myself. And you know what I did? I sent the feedback into them. And they thanked me for it. They said, alright, we'll take a look at that. Recorded, and I made sure to show them exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And it's that's the same with what you guys do, especially if you're playing on PlayStation.
They're trying to make the market more interactive too. That's another thing. They want us to do that. They want us to
give the feedback,
but they don't want us to sit there
and nowadays
smash them and
here's the other
bitch
thing.
About what's wrong with it. Find out what's wrong with it, test it, send it into them, and just do it politely and love it and love gaming, and don't sit there and complain.
Because here's the thing, guys. When you don't love a game, and you don't support a game because of the fact that it has some mild glitches or it hasn't put all the features in that you want, you do realize that a game like No Man's Sky is a beautiful game. It is.
Yeah. It's fucking gorgeous.
There is some things wrong. But here's the thing.
Eye porn.
Here's the thing. Cody, you don't like it, okay? Let's just say that.
Oh,
we're just going to say.
No, I do.
You don't like it. Okay? Now you're 10,000 people who don't like it. What happens to the game designer? Okay, say I'm the game designer. I'm going to say, oh, no one liked my game. They didn't like our artwork and our direction on it. I guess we're going to stop making games because we're going out of business now.
No.
Well, that's the whole point. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. Yeah, you have a lot of power in the gaming industry now.
Yeah.
You create and destroy careers. Remember that. You know? Me and Cody, we're artistic people. We know all about what happens when people critique your work too much or critique it because they don't understand it and make it so negative.
Yeah, improper critique and
I don't mean
shitty
like
critique.
I don't mean like we can't take criticism.
We can take a criticism, but when it's an uneducated criticism, it's
not even uneducated. If it's just like a belligerent, this isn't what I think is art.
Yeah.
Fuck you, because art only has one opinion.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sorry guys, we made it almost through half the podcast without cussing, and I just dropped the F-bomb. So, well, I mean, it won't be so bad. But, Cody, let me ask you a couple of things, okay? We've been talking about No Man's Sky and, like, game glitches and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. What is your favorite glitch of all time?
I honestly don't exploit glitches. I never have. I don't really have a favorite, but the only really exploit I've ever used was one on The Sims, like way back in like '99.
Oh, you're talking about the motherload cheat?
Yeah, the motherload. Seriously, I don't exploit cheats or glitches. I don't. Like, I just don't. I play the game as it's supposed to be played. I really don't. I honestly don't. Like, I've never exploited any of the money glitches in any of the Bethesda games.
Have you ever done the Konami code?
Oh, for Contra?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But, I guess I was super little.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing, is that as a kid you needed those lives.
Yeah, as you mature, you play the game as it's supposed to be played.
See,
that's probably seriously the motherload glitch and the Contra
the
glitch
Konami code, yeah,
is like basically the only glitches. I'm dead serious. The only glitches I've ever exploited.
I used to do the Final Fantasy.
Well, the Halo. There was one in Halo. Okay, all right. I'm not gonna lie. Halo 2. There was a glitch. You can get on top of headlong, but that we never did. We never did that in competitive. Like, we just do that in like a custom game. Friends. And we'd get on top of headlong and be like, holy shit, look how small it is. And then that was it.
Yeah. Well, and when you're just dicking around with friends.
Yeah.
See, one of the glitches that I took advantage of, and again, I was a kid, was Final Fantasy IV. So that was American Final Fantasy II here.
What about the one where
the duplication of item glitch.
Okay, are you talking about the one where they go get the Esper with the mech suits? Or is
no, that's the one before that one. That would be 3, but technically 5
or whatever.
In Japan, yeah.
Oh, see, I've never played 4. What'd you say?
It was Final Fantasy 2. It was the one with Cecil, the Dark Knight, who turns into a paladin.
Yeah. I played that for like 5 minutes.
Oh,
it's too old. I couldn't get into it. Like, I tried to play 1 and 2, and I was just like, oh my god, like this is so like.
Dude, I've been so nostalgic. I really want to play Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy 2, but that's basic. I would like to say nay to you, sir.
Technically,
no,
but like
because that
visually, it's just like, oh my god.
Well, visually, because of the fact that at the time it was actually there.
I know, of course, yeah.
It's like 8-bit and 16-bit it's basic. Yeah. God, you don't understand. It's basic.
So you start out on 7. Like, I know that's when you started. That's when everyone started.
No, I started on Final Fantasy 2.
Did you really? Because I started on 7.
Yeah. Well, no, I actually played Final Fantasy 1 first, and then I did Final Fantasy 2 and 3, and then we didn't know in the United States that we were actually playing 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And then there were 2 other games that we never really got to play, which I think if they release another collector's edition, I'm going to get the collector's edition of it. I hope Nintendo does, because they could make some real money off of it. because, it's still Nintendo's property for those Final Fantasies. I did the duplication glitch, which basically what you would do is...
That's the original dupe glitch? Like
Final
Fantasy?
Yeah.
Really?
Where, Cecil gets Excalibur, okay?
Yeah.
And you duplicate it.
Wow.
And then you give it to your ninja.
Yeah.
And he just... wow. Or you duplicate the wooden spoon, which was amazing, apparently.
Yeah.
And that was Yang's wife.
Or wait, no, I take that back. What was the glitch? It wasn't really a glitch. No, it wasn't really a glitch at all.
What?
The one in Mario 3?
Oh, you're talking about the ducking behind and flying?
Yeah.
Yeah, getting behind to the secret levels?
Okay, I've done that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's not a glitch. That was something they built in so you could, hidden secrets. And speaking of hidden secrets in Final Fantasy, to America for Japan, okay? Talking about that. Getting the hidden... I say hidden because of the fact of... Nobody knew this at the beginning. Getting the hidden summons. They weren't called espers back then.
Yeah.
They were called summons.
Like in 7, yeah.
Yeah, and it was the goblin summon, and then there was the bomb summon. Yeah. And it was when I found that out, because of the fact of I was power leveling, and I have Rydia on the team and stuff, and we were just going straight against goblins.
Yeah.
Because I did it really early on, and I got that summon, and I was like, it's holy shit. Or maybe it was called Imp back then, but it's same difference. Because I think it was Imp that you had to fight. I'm trying to remember, because they did do a remake of 4.
Oh.
And it's they changed some things in it. Here's the thing. Nintendo doesn't want to give up the old Final Fantasies. Sony doesn't want to give up the new Final Fantasies.
Wow.
I mean, Sony's gotten, Square Enix has gotten a lot of the old characters. They did Dissidia, and they've done some remakes and stuff, but they're not, they're not the same. To me, I would love to see, a completely remastered, the new Final Fantasy graphics of,
2?
Yeah.
That'd be dope. Pretty sure they've probably already thought of that. And
exactly, and I can't wait for that.
Probably got that on the back burner.
But just do the original story in it. Just do the original story.
Sure. That's probably
because
on the back burner.
I would love to see the cinematics.
Yeah.
Because that storyline was so great, and you know what? I have to say this, and people understand who played the game. Spoony Bard.
Spoony
Bard, Edward.
That one.
Tella calls him a Spoony Bard.
Wow.
So, you obviously know what that means.
Well, I could probably guess. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just one of those things where he was such a coward and stuff. One of his movesets was hide. he would hide and just, be out of frame so he couldn't be attacked.
Wow.
Which was good strategy if you had a bunch of, Phoenix Stones and stuff. Had a bunch of items that could cure. So
I want to
you'd
play
have
7 now. Really bad, man.
I just got 7 again.
Again?
I've got it on the PS4
Did you go buy
now.
it for $300 from a shop?
No, I got the actual download of it.
Oh, the download.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know how much those go for? Dude, when I was up in Schaumburg,
yeah,
there was a shop that fucking sold,
Do you know they're doing a remastered Final Fantasy 7?
Yeah, they've been talking about that for a while. I almost freaked out, I didn't remember, but yeah, I remember.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be amazing.
Are they gonna release it on both platforms?
No, they're only gonna go Sony.
Oh my god.
They might do,
or PC, Steam?
They might do Steam.
Because I have the original on Steam right now.
Yeah. See, I got the original on my PS4.
I had it forever, and then I got
rid of it.
That dumb decision.
Okay, I think it's time for us to talk about this.
What?
We've been talking about a Let's Play channel. We've been going back and forth.
We're gonna play 7 on a Let's Play.
Yeah, let's do 7.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we'll do our first
James and Mike Mondays. Cinemasker.com. Check it out if you haven't checked that out.
Jeez.
I'm plugging that. I mean, come on, that dude's the shit.
Yeah, exactly.
He's still the shit. He's actually a big reason why, way back in 2006, I started thinking about, hey, I should do that. I should make a channel someday.
Exactly. And here's the biggest thing, okay, guys? Yeah. We are actually planning it. We gotta get the equipment. Right now, money's tight. We just spent the money on the podcast equipment, and that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Again, we're too new to ask for any donations, so we're not going to. So, again, be patient with us, but I think one of our long playthroughs, I'm going to call it a journey through, is going to be Final Fantasy.
Play it for 2 hours?
Well,
like
yeah,
one of those things.
Well, yeah, we'll play in sections.
Or do it all at once. No.
Oh, dude, that'd be way too long. We'd still have to section it off because no one.
Or do it all at once.
Yeah.
Like one night, just chill and play for like 4 hours, and then
are we gonna just play through like noobs,
and then
or are we
chop
gonna
it
go?
up, and then release it?
Yeah, but are we gonna play like noobs, or are we gonna play like the real Final Fantasy VII players and get like go after the Ruby
and the big summons and
like level
Odin
everybody up? Yeah.
Damn.
See, that's the thing you gotta ask yourself.
And fight like the big robot. Yeah. No, I remember now.
Yeah. I know Ruby's for sure.
Isn't that the first one?
That's the big red one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the big dragon-like looking one, I think, yeah. And I just... We'll double-check that and go more in depth with that, but...
Take a while.
Yeah, it'll be like the Opal. What the fuck?
Like, we could... Oh, man.
But
like, grinding that game.
Yeah, but we would call it a journey through. And that way we would have one big series of it.
100 hours.
Exactly. So, 100 hours, man. If you do everything right, you're looking at about like 120.
120, yeah.
Yeah, if you get everything. If you grind like the whole way through. That way when you go up against like a bad guy, it's like, oh crap. You know? Mm-hmm. And of course we have to get Knights of the Round. Gotta get that. Oh,
that's what it's at. That's what it's all about.
Oh man. I love that game. So, that's probably what we're gonna do. We're probably gonna start doing Sony playthroughs of Final Fantasy games. So we'll start with 7, we'll go to 8, we'll go through them.
Not 10-2.
We'll just, there's a couple we'll probably skip, or we'll have one of our other group members play. So, we just talked about, like, somebody else playing. Now, we've got a couple candidates, okay?
Yeah.
One of the people who would be playing for us would be one of my close friends who mastered Final Fantasy at a very young age, was an arcade legend. Like this kid, back when arcade tournaments were big, he was a master at it at a young age. His dad took him out of school and stuff to like play arcades and like go into tournaments. Jesus. You know, so he's a gamer god. Like I kid you not, he's the kind of guy. He picks up a game, he learns it for 5 seconds, and he will build something completely different with it and just rock it like no one ever has played.
Really?
Yeah, that's the kind of guy he is.
Jesus Christ.
So I might have him step in on a couple of playthroughs. You know, and he's his main game. He's Final Fantasy VII. Like I said, he's a fanatic about it. Yeah. He's got like, you know, Red 13's tattoo.
Oh,
you know,
Jesus Christ. Like he actually has.
It's on his
Red
back.
13.
And dude, I kid you not, dude. Fucking amazing. The tattoo artist, amazing. Now, since we've kind of let some of the like noise out of new guests and new people who might be joining us, Cody has a friend, and obviously you can name him now. And we're gonna offer the extension to him because he showed interest.
Yeah, he did.
You know, if he wants to come on board, more than welcome to. Cody, would you like to introduce him?
Ryan. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for about 10 years. 8?
Between 8 and 10.
10 years. 10 years.
10 years? Wow.
Yeah, well, holy cow. Wow.
Time flies. And what's Ryan's, what's he bringing to the table for us?
He's actually just going to graduate in journalism. Yeah. So I'm looking at bringing him on the staff, actually. Yeah,
to kind of do some of our research and stuff. Now, I have to say this. Me and Cody, we're artistic guys. Yeah. I love the idea of like storylines and scripts and the flow of things. Cody is really particular on the art of things, and we obviously blend into our own sets. Now, what this guy's going to do, what Ryan's going to do, he's going to bring in something else that neither one of us have really talked about.
Like the bread and butter of what we need, journalism.
So we can go more in depth with some of these stories, because obviously, right now...
we have no journalism experience.
We have a tiny bit.
Barely.
I mean,
we have enough to, do this.
Get through, and exactly. But to take our podcast to the next level, we would like to bring him in. And it would also help us because of the fact that he'll keep us honest on stories, because of the fact that we might misconstrue something in a way that we don't realize, that he's going to be able to pinpoint out and actually
we're just literally off the cuff writing, and we need to tighten it up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole thing, is that bringing a person on to do that research and to kind of come in every now and again and do, like...
Basically, I'm going to say a professional...
Exactly.
I'd be the art director, you'd be like the VFX, audio, film director.
Just call me a producer. That's basically what I do.
Yeah, like funding it.
Yeah, exactly.
And doing like all the film and all that audio
and setting up when we do the Let's Plays and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to be our biggest
thing.
3
strong points.
Exactly.
Like, that's what I'm looking at.
And, of course, you know, we have another one that might come on. You might be able to hear her later on. She balances us out with some, you know, extra tones and things for views that we don't know directly.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that me and Cody think outside voice. Because we know we geeks. We geeks bad.
We geeks bad.
We're geeks in a very specific way.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've been talking some other podcasts. I won't name any names because I want to get their permission first.
Yeah.
But you know, there's going to be a couple guys that we might bring on that are like podcasts. You know, guys who've been doing this for a while and who know what's the best angles and stuff. And we're really going to build the channel. We're going to build this podcast so it suits our listeners better. And I mean, that is an amazing thing to think about. That, yeah, we could sit on here and just talk crap for months on end and never grow at all. But you know what? We're going to grow. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring people in to cover our weak points. That way we can actually build a good, reputable name. And, Cody, we've been talking about all these guys and everything. And you know what? I'm going to leave it at that because I've ran out of things to say.
Yeah.
And we will do a private follow-up video later on introducing these guys. But again, I've ran out of things to say.
I've also ran out of things to say.
So, good night, audience, and stay tuned for next week.